They abandoned the paralyzed alien girl. Only a human took her in and loved her HFY. The station was dying. Warning lights flickered across long, empty halls. The artificial gravity pulsed weakly, making every step feel uncertain. Outside the wide viewing panels, a red star swelled and twisted, slowly pulling the station toward its end. Ships were leaving. Escape shuttles launched one after another, their engines burning bright as they fled into open space. The great interstellar summit had failed. What was meant to be a meeting of peace had ended in fear, blame, and quiet cruelty. No one looked back. In one forgotten wing of the station, behind sealed doors marked as obsolete, a young alien girl lay alone on a narrow medical bed. Her name was Lurie. Her skin was pale blue, faintly glowing in the dim light. Her eyes were wide and unblinking, fixed on the ceiling above her. She could not move her legs. She had not moved them since the accident. Days earlier, during the arrival of her people's delegation, a transport corridor had collapsed. Lurie had been crushed beneath falling metal and shattered glass. The doctors had worked quickly but not kindly. They saved her life but not her mobility. To her people, that made her useless. Her species believed survival demanded strength. Those who could not walk, fight, or flee were seen as errors. Resources were not wasted on errors. So when the evacuation began, Lurie was placed here, away from the main halls. A report was filed. A note was signed. And then she was forgotten. The medical wing grew quiet. The air recyclers hummed, then slowed. The lights dimmed further. Lurie listened to the sounds fade, her sharp hearing picking up what others would miss. No footsteps, no voices, no orders. She understood what silence meant. Her hands trembled as she tried once more to move her legs. Nothing happened. Panic rose in her chest, sharp and choking. She wanted to cry out, but her throat felt tight, as if sound itself had abandoned her. She was alone. Far away, near the lower maintenance levels, a human named Evan Hale was still working. Evan had not been part of the summit. He was a contracted technician, hired to keep old systems alive for a little longer. When evacuation orders came, they came late and unclear. Some systems still needed manual shutdown, and Evan had been sent to handle them. He moved through the maintenance corridors with a small light strapped to his wrist, muttering to himself as he worked. "Always the same," he said quietly. "Everyone runs, leaves the mess behind." He finished sealing a coolant valve and wiped sweat from his forehead. The gravity shift nearly threw him off balance. "That's not good," he said. His communicator crackled with a weak signal. A recorded message played, broken and distorted. "All non-essential personnel, evacuate immediately, station integrity failing." Evan frowned. He was non-essential, very non-essential. He turned toward the nearest exit route, but a warning icon flashed on his wrist display. One sector was still powered. That was strange. Most areas were already dark. Curiosity tugged at him. Against better judgment, he followed the signal. The corridor leading to the old medical wing was cold and quiet. The doors were sealed, marked with faded symbols from several species. Evan frowned again. Why is this place still online? He wondered. He pried open the door using a manual override. The metal groaned in protest as it slid aside. Inside, the lights flickered weakly. Evan stepped in and froze. On the far side of the room, on a single bed, lay a small alien figure. "Hey," he said softly, unsure if she could understand him. "Is someone here?" Lurie's eyes snapped toward him. For a moment, neither of them moved. Evan took a slow step forward. He had seen many species before, but never one so small, so still. Tubes and wires ran from machines beside her bed. The monitors beeped faintly, struggling to stay alive. "Oh no," Evan whispered. "They left you." Lurie watched his face closely. Humans were known in the galaxy, but rarely trusted. She had been taught they were strange, emotional, unpredictable. She had not been taught they would come back. He checked the medical display, reading what he could understand. Paralysis. Stable condition. No evacuation clearance. That's horrible, Evan said. The station shook, a deep groan running through its frame. Dust fell from the ceiling. Evan looked at the countdown timer on his wrist. Less than 20 minutes until structural failure. He looked at Lurie. "I can't leave you here," he said. Lurie's breathing quickened. She tried to speak, but only a faint sound escaped her lips. Evan heard it. "You can talk," he said gently. "It's okay, I'm here." Her voice was weak and broken. "You should go." Evan shook his head. "Not happening." He rushed to disconnect the machines, carefully sealing portable life support units around her. His hands moved fast but gently. He spoke as he worked, as if sound itself could fight the silence closing in. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lurie," she replied. "I'm Evan," he said. "And we're getting out of here." Her eyes filled with something unfamiliar, hope mixed with fear. "You will be punished," she warned. "My people will not allow it." Evan gave a short, humorless laugh. "They already punished you. I'm not listening to them." The station shook again, harder this time. Alarms screamed. Evan slid his arms beneath her and lifted her carefully. She was lighter than he expected. Too light. As he carried her into the corridor, Lurie clutched his sleeve with trembling fingers. "No one has done this," she said. "Not even my own." Evan didn't answer right away. He was focused on moving fast, on keeping his balance as gravity failed in short bursts. "That's their mistake," he said finally. They reached his small cargo ship just as debris slammed into the docking ring. Evan strapped Lurie into the co-pilot seat, securing her with extra supports. Outside, the station began to tear itself apart. As Evan powered up the engines, a transmission cut through the noise. An alien voice, cold and official. "Unidentified human vessel, you are departing with unauthorized biological cargo. Return immediately." Evan clenched his jaw. He looked at Lurie. She stared back, fear clear in her eyes. "They're coming for you," she said. Evan's hands tightened on the controls. "Let them try," he said. The engines roared to life as the station collapsed behind them, fire and metal swallowed by the red star. Lurie watched the view screen as everything she knew vanished into light. She did not know where she was going. She only knew that, for the first time since the accident, someone had chosen her. And somewhere deep in the dark between stars, that choice was about to change everything. The cargo ship moved through open space, its engines humming low and steady. The red star was far behind now, shrinking into a distant glow. Pieces of the destroyed station still drifted in the darkness like broken memories. Inside the ship, the air was quiet. Lurie sat strapped into the co-pilot seat. Supports held her still so her body would not shift when the ship changed direction. Soft medical lights glowed around her, powered by portable systems Evan had rushed to connect. She watched the stars pass on the screen in front of her. Each one felt unreal. She had never imagined leaving like this. Not with a human, not alive. Evan sat in the pilot's seat, eyes focused on the controls. His hands moved with practice, though his heart was still racing. Only minutes ago he had been sure he would die on that station. He glanced at her. "You holding up okay?" he asked. "Yes," Lurie said quietly. Her voice was still weak but steadier than before. "I do not feel pain." "That's good," Evan replied. "We'll get you somewhere safe." She hesitated. "There is no safe place for me." Evan frowned slightly but did not argue. He had heard enough to understand she believed it. A warning tone sounded. Evan checked the scanner. Multiple signals appeared behind them. His jaw tightened. "Well," he said softly. "Looks like we're not alone." Lurie followed his gaze to the screen. Shapes appeared there, sharp and angular, patrol ships, not human. Her hands trembled. "They followed us," she said. "They will not stop." Evan's fingers moved quickly over the controls. He pushed power to the engines, but the ship responded slowly. It was an old vessel built for cargo, not escape. "How fast are they?" he asked. "Faster than this ship," Lurie answered honestly. The silence between them grew heavy. A transmission signal flashed. Evan accepted it. The screen filled with the image of an alien officer. Its face was long and narrow, eyes cold and unblinking. "Human pilot," the officer said, "you are carrying abandoned property. That individual does not belong to you." Evan leaned back in his seat. "She's not property." "She was designated non-viable," the officer replied. "Her evacuation rights were revoked. Return her and you will be allowed to leave unharmed." Lurie closed her eyes. She had expected this. Her people had always been clear about such things. Evan laughed once, sharp and bitter. "You left her to die." "That decision was made according to survival law," the officer said. "Your interference is emotional and inefficient." Evan leaned forward. "Funny thing about humans," he said, "we don't measure life by efficiency." The officer's eyes narrowed. "Last warning." Evan cut the transmission. Lurie stared at him. "You should give me back." "No," Evan said immediately. "They will destroy your ship," she said. "They will punish you." Evan exhaled slowly. "Maybe, but I didn't drag you out of hell just to hand you back." The patrol ships closed in. Weapons systems powered up, their energy signatures lighting the scanner. Evan searched his options. There were not many. Then he saw it. An unstable debris field ahead. Remains of old battles, shattered hulls, twisted metal drifting in chaotic motion. "Hold on," he said. He angled the ship sharply and plunged toward the debris. The alien ships followed, confident in their superior control. But humans were used to flying through messes. Evan cut the main lights, reduced power output, and twisted through the wreckage. Metal scraped the hull. Warning alarms screamed. Lurie gasped as gravity shifted violently. Pain flared briefly in her lower body, then faded. "Evan," she said, fear breaking through her calm, "you will die." "Not today," he replied through clenched teeth. One of the patrol ships clipped a large piece of debris. Its shields flared, then failed. It spun out of control, vanishing into the darkness. The others slowed, unwilling to risk the same fate. Evan pushed the engines to their limit and burst free of the field. By the time the patrol ships regrouped, he was gone. The stars stretched as the ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. Silence returned. Evan slumped back in his seat, sweat dripping down his face. His hands shook. "That," he said quietly, "was too close." Lurie stared at him. No one had ever risked anything for her before, not like that. "Why?" she asked. Evan looked at her. "Why what? Why did you fight them?" she said. "Why save me?" He thought for a moment. "Because leaving you there was wrong," he said simply. She struggled to understand that answer. In her culture, wrong was defined by failure. She had failed. Therefore, she had been removed. Humans did not seem to think that way. Hours passed. The ship traveled toward human-controlled space, avoiding main routes. Evan used old navigation tricks, things he had learned from other pilots. Human space was large and messy, easy to hide in. Lurie's systems warned her body was weakening. She had been without proper care for too long. Evan noticed the readings and frowned. "We need medical help soon," he said. "There is no treatment," she replied. "My spine is damaged." "Maybe for your people," Evan said. "Humans don't give up that easy." She watched him closely. "You believe you can fix everything." "No," he said, "just some things. And sometimes we try even when we can't." That made no sense to her, and yet she felt something warm in her chest when he said it. They arrived near a small human outpost. Not a planet, but a floating settlement built from old ships and stations. It was quiet, far from politics. Evan sent a coded signal. A reply came quickly. "Evan Hale," a voice said, "you look like trouble." A human woman appeared on the screen. She had short dark hair and tired eyes. "Hey," Evan said, "I need a favor." Her eyes shifted to Lurie. She stiffened. "You brought an alien here?" she asked. "She needs help," Evan said. The woman studied Lurie for a long moment. "Docking Bay 3, she said finally. "And Evan, yeah, if this causes problems, I'm blaming you." "That's fair," he said. The ship docked. Medical staff rushed in, cautious but curious. Lurie was transferred carefully to a proper bed. Machines surrounded her, far more advanced than those on the station. As they worked, Lurie felt fear twist inside her. What if they decide the same thing? She asked Evan quietly. What if they abandon me too? Evan placed a hand on the side of her bed. They won't, he said, and if they do, I won't. She searched his face for lies. She found none. Elsewhere, far behind them, the surviving patrol ships reported their failure. The alien officer stood before a council, his voice sharp with anger. The human refused to comply, he said. The female is alive. Murmurs spread through the chamber. That should not be possible, one voice said. It is, the officer replied. And if humans succeed in keeping her, others may question our ways. Silence followed. Then a decision was made. She must be retrieved, the council declared. No matter the cost. Back at the outpost, Lurie lay awake as machines hummed around her. For the first time since her injury, she was not alone. But deep in the dark between stars, something was coming, and it was not finished with her. The medical bay smelled clean and sharp, unlike anything Lurie remembered. Soft white lights filled the room, steady and calm. Machines surrounded her bed, but they did not feel cold or distant. Their quiet sounds felt almost comforting. She had been awake for hours. Humans moved in and out of the room. Some wore light-colored medical clothing. Others carried tools or tablets. They spoke in low voices, careful voices. No one looked at her with disgust or judgment. Some looked curious. Some looked concerned. None looked ready to leave her behind. Evan sat nearby, slumped in a chair that was clearly not meant for rest. He had refused to leave, even when told he could sleep elsewhere. His eyes were tired, red from stress and lack of sleep. A human doctor stood at the foot of the bed. His name was Tomas Reed. He was older with gray hair and calm eyes. "We've finished the scans," Tomas said. Evan stood immediately. And Tomas did not rush his answer. He stepped closer so Lurie could hear clearly. "Your spinal injury is severe," he said gently. "The damage is old and complex." Lurie felt her chest tighten. She had expected this. Evan waited, holding his breath. "By alien standards," Tomas continued, "this would be the end of the discussion." Evan's eyes narrowed. But humans don't stop at standards," Tomas said. "We have experimental treatments, neural mapping, regrowth therapy. It's slow, painful, and there are no promises." Hope sparked painfully inside Lurie. She tried to push it down. Hope had always been dangerous. "You may fail," she said. Tomas nodded. "Yes." "You may waste resources," she said. "Yes," he replied again. She looked at Evan. "They will not allow this." Evan met her gaze. "This is human space," he said. "They don't get a vote." Tomas folded his arms. "One thing you should understand," he said to Lurie. "We don't do this because it is efficient. We do it because your life matters." Her mind struggled with that idea. After Tomas left, silence filled the room. "Why are they doing this?" Lurie asked quietly. "They do not know me." Evan shrugged slightly. "They know enough." She studied him. "You could still leave." "I could," he said, "but you stay." "Yeah. Why?" He thought for a moment. "Because if I walk away now, I'd hate myself." That answer confused her even more than the others. The first treatment began the next day. They fitted a neural interface along her spine. It was uncomfortable, sometimes painful. She bit back sounds of distress, her instincts telling her to endure quietly. Evan noticed. "You don't have to be silent," he told her. "In my culture," she said, "pain is endured alone." "Well," Evan replied, "this isn't your culture right now." When the pain became too much, she cried out. Every time she did, someone responded. A nurse adjusted settings. A doctor spoke softly. Evan held her hand. No one told her to be quiet. Weeks passed. Progress was slow. Some days brought small changes, a flicker of sensation, a faint pressure. Other days brought nothing but exhaustion and frustration. There were moments she wanted to stop. "I am still broken," she said one evening, her voice heavy. Evan shook his head. "You're healing." "That is not the same," she said. "Maybe not," he replied, "but it's closer than where you started." Outside the medical bay, word began to spread. An alien living in a human outpost, not imprisoned, not studied, treated. News traveled faster than ships. A small group of alien traders docked at the outpost one cycle. They whispered when they saw her through the glass. Some looked shocked, others looked angry. One alien confronted Evan in the corridor. "You interfere with natural order," the alien said. Evan crossed his arms. "Funny, humans have been accused of that before." "She should have been allowed to die," the alien insisted. Evan leaned closer. "Say that again," he said quietly. The alien backed away. Not all reactions were hostile. One night, Lurie noticed a young alien child watching her through the observation window. The child's legs were wrapped in support braces. Fear and wonder mixed in their eyes. The child's guardian pulled them away quickly. Lurie's heart ached. She was not the only one. Evan began sleeping less. He took extra work to pay for supplies, refusing assistance. Tomas argued with him more than once. "You don't have to carry this alone," Tomas said. Evan shrugged. "Someone left her alone. I'm not making the same mistake." One evening, alarms echoed through the outpost. Not emergency alarms. Warning alarms. Evan rushed into the medical bay. "What's happening?" Lurie asked. He checked his wrist display. His face darkened. "An alien fleet just entered nearby space," he said. "Not a patrol." "Something bigger," her breath caught. "They have come for me." "Yes," Evan said, "and they're not hiding it." The outpost council gathered quickly. Human leaders, traders, and station commanders argued in tense voices. "They have no authority here," one said. "They're demanding extradition," another replied. "They're calling it a cultural violation." Evan stood at the back, fists clenched. Lurie listened through the open channel. Each word felt like a blade. "We should consider compromise," someone suggested. Evan stepped forward. "No," all eyes turned to him. "They abandoned her," he said. "They don't get to decide her fate now." Silence followed. Finally, the station commander spoke. "If we refuse, they may escalate." Evan didn't hesitate. "Then they show the galaxy exactly who they are." Lurie closed her eyes. That night, Evan sat beside her bed. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I didn't mean for this to happen." She looked at him. "You gave me something I never had," she said. "Choice." A message arrived soon after, a formal demand. Lurie was to be returned immediately. Failure to comply would result in sanctions and possible force. Lurie read it slowly. "They fear something," she said. "Yeah," Evan replied. "They fear being questioned," she swallowed. "If I go back, this ends." Evan's voice tightened. "No." "They will leave you alone," she said. "Maybe," he said, "but I won't be able to live with that." She looked at her legs. She felt something faint, pressure, real pressure. "Evan," she said slowly, "I can feel the bed." He froze. "What?" "I can feel it," she repeated, wonder shaking her voice. He laughed, a sound half joy, half disbelief. "That's amazing," he said. "It is not much," she said. "It's everything," he replied. Far above the outpost, alien ships formed a silent line against the stars. Their weapons remained powered down, for now. Inside the medical bay, Lurie stared at the ceiling, her heart racing. She was changing, and the galaxy was watching, whether it wanted to or not. The alien fleet did not attack. It waited. Massive ships hung in silent formation above the human outpost, dark shapes blocking distant starlight. Their presence alone was a threat. Trade routes slowed. Civilian ships turned away. Fear spread faster than any message. Inside the outpost, tension filled every corridor. Human security forces were placed on alert, though everyone knew they could not truly fight a fleet like that. The commanders hoped for time. Time for talks. Time for the galaxy to notice. Lurie felt the pressure of it even from her bed. She was no longer confined to constant monitoring. With support braces and careful help, she could now sit upright for short periods. The feeling in her legs was still weak, but it was real. Each small improvement filled her with wonder and fear. "They will not allow this," she said to Evan one morning. "If I walk again, it proves they were wrong." Evan adjusted one of the braces. "Then let's prove it." the Outpost Council called for negotiations. A communication channel opened between human leaders and the alien coalition. The main screen filled with unfamiliar faces, cold eyes, controlled voices. "The individual you harbor is not yours," the lead alien speaker said. "She was released from obligation." "That is a strange way to say abandoned," the human commander replied. "The decision was lawful," the alien insisted. "She could not contribute." Evan stood beside Lurie's medical chair. He felt her hand tighten around his. "She is contributing right now," the commander said. "You just don't like how," the alien paused. "Humans are encouraging weakness." Evan couldn't stay silent. "No," he said, "we're encouraging survival." The channel cut abruptly. Hours later, alien drones moved closer to the station, not attacking, inspecting, watching. "They are measuring us," Tomas said grimly, "testing how far they can push." That night, Lurie asked Evan to help her stand. "You're not ready," he said gently. "I need to try," she replied. "If they see me only lying down, I remain what they believe." With Tomas watching closely, Evan helped her shift her weight. Pain shot through her body, her vision blurred, she nearly collapsed. Evan caught her, heart racing. "That's enough." But she shook her head. Again. They tried once more. This time she stayed upright for 3 full seconds. It felt like a lifetime. Tears rolled down her face, unhidden. "I am standing," she whispered. "Yes," Evan said, his voice thick. "You are." The moment was recorded, not as propaganda, as truth. The next day, alien representatives demanded to inspect Lurie in person. The Outpost Council debated fiercely. "It's a trap," one said. "Refusing will escalate things," another argued. Lurie listened quietly. "I will meet them," she said at last. Evan turned sharply. "No." "They already threaten war," she said. "Let them see what they tried to erase." The meeting took place in a secured chamber. Lurie was brought in with assistants. Her legs shook, but she remained upright with support braces. The alien representatives stared. They had expected weakness. Instead, they saw change. "You should not be able to do this," one said. "I should not be alive," Lurie replied calmly. "Yet here I am." "You were spared out of sentiment," another said. "No," she answered. "I was saved out of choice." Evan stood beside her, silent but unyielding. The aliens spoke among themselves in low tones. Unease crept into their controlled voices. "This cannot continue," one said finally. "You disrupt order." "Order that kills the vulnerable," Lurie said. "That order deserves disruption." The chamber fell silent. That night the alien fleet powered weapons for the first time. Energy signatures spiked. Alarms echoed through the outpost. "They're preparing sanctions," the commander announced. "Possibly worse." Civilians were moved to shelters. Ships prepared for evacuation. Evan stayed with Lurie. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't think it would go this far." She looked at him, steady despite the fear. "You gave me life. I will not regret it." Outside, the stars seemed to hold their breath. Then a new signal appeared. Multiple signals. Ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel around the outpost. Not warships, civilian vessels, transports, medical ships, independent traders from different species, from different systems. "They're responding," Tomas said, staring at the display. Messages flooded in. "We saw what you did. We remember our abandoned. We are watching." The alien coalition hesitated. Their fleet was no longer alone. Lurie felt Evan squeeze her hand. "They're not just looking at you anymore," he said. "They're looking at themselves." Above them, weapons powered down, not in defeat, in uncertainty. And in that uncertainty, something fragile and dangerous was born: hope. The silence after the weapons powered down was heavy and uncertain. Ships from many systems remained gathered around the human outpost. They did not move closer and they did not leave. They waited. The galaxy waited with them. For the first time, the alien coalition faced more than resistance. It faced witnesses. Inside the outpost, emergency lights dimmed back to normal. People slowly emerged from shelters. Conversations filled the corridors, quiet but intense. Everyone understood that something important had shifted. Lurie sat near a wide observation window, her legs supported by braces. Evan stood beside her. Together, they watched the gathered ships, lights blinking like distant stars. "They did not fire," Lurie said softly. "No," Evan replied, "because now they can't pretend no one sees them." A new communication request arrived. This time it was not a demand. The Alien Council appeared on the main screen, their expressions controlled but strained. More than one species was present now, not just those who had abandoned Lurie. "We request a full hearing," the lead speaker said, "open to all observers." The human commander nodded. "Granted." The broadcast went live across known space. Lurie's heart raced. Tomas knelt beside her. "You don't have to speak," he said gently. "I want to," she replied. Evan looked at her, concern in his eyes. "Are you sure?" She met his gaze. "You taught me that my voice matters." The chamber filled with images of distant worlds, ships, and faces watching from across the stars. Lurie was helped forward. She stood, trembling but upright. "My people believed weakness should be erased," she began. Her voice shook at first, then steadied. "When I could no longer walk, they decided I no longer belonged." Images appeared on the screen, records, evacuation logs, medical reports marked non-viable. The Alien Council did not deny them. "They left me to die," Lurie continued. "Not because they could not save me, but because they chose not to." A low murmur spread through the broadcast. "I was found by a human," she said, turning slightly toward Evan. "He did not ask what I could give. He asked who I was." Evan felt his throat tighten. "They say humans are irrational," Lurie said. "If that is true, then I believe the galaxy needs more of it." Silence followed. Then a voice broke through the channel, an alien from a distant system. "We abandoned a child like her," the voice said. "Long ago." Another followed. "We called it necessity," another. "We called it order." One by one, the stories surfaced. The alien coalition fractured in real time. Some representatives withdrew, others argued. Some remained silent, unable to defend themselves. At last, the lead speaker spoke again. "The individual Lurie was wronged," they admitted. "Our laws failed her." The words echoed across the galaxy. Sanctions were lifted, demands withdrawn, but the damage was already done. Human diplomats moved quickly, supported by dozens of species now willing to speak. Investigations were announced. Practices once hidden were dragged into light. Lurie was granted full asylum under human protection. She was no longer alone. Days passed. The alien fleet dispersed, not in victory or defeat, but in shame. Life in the outpost slowly returned to normal, though nothing felt the same. Lurie's therapy continued. She could now take assisted steps, slow and painful but real. Each step felt like defiance. Evan walked beside her, always ready to catch her, never pulling her forward. One afternoon, they stood outside the medical bay, watching new ships arrive. "These are not traders," Evan said. "No," Lurie replied. The ships docked, their ramps lowering. From inside came others. An alien with damaged wings. A child carried in a floating chair. A being with mechanical limbs scavenged from scrap. All abandoned. All brought to the one place that had said no. Humans and volunteers from other species moved to help them, guiding them gently, speaking softly. Lurie felt tears slide down her face. "They are coming here," she whispered. "Yeah," Evan said. "Seems like word got out." She looked at him. "You started this." He shook his head. "You did, I just opened a door." She smiled, a small, honest smile. Weeks later, Lurie stood again at the observation window. This time she stood without braces. Not for long, only seconds, but she stood. Evan watched, pride and awe mixing in his chest. "You did it," he said. "We did," she replied. Outside, a new name began to spread through the stars. Humanity, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as the species that refused to let go. And in a galaxy built on survival at any cost, that refusal changed everything.